Welcome to Beyond the Briefing, I'm Shannon Marvell. In 2023, the Highlands was the third most visited region in Scotland with 8.4 million overnight visitors, while approximately 1.6 million visited Loch Ness and the Inverness area each year. But despite boom times, there are also concerns within the region's tourism industry over the possible introduction of a visitor levy or tourism tax by the Highland Council, which has been carrying out a public consultation. With councillors yet to decide, we talked to our reporter Val Sweeny about why tourism visitors are anxious or opposed to such a measure. We'll be joined by Ellen Fogel-Walker in a second, but Val, could you tell us a little bit about what tourism tax is and what the council are doing in regards to this?
Various cities around the world already have a tourism tax. Places such as Amsterdam, Prague, Edinburgh has agreed to introduce a tourism tax, or a visitor levy as it's called. Highland Council has now floated the idea of introducing a visitor levy. What it would do is raise money which could be spent on public infrastructure, which is under great pressure due to the huge number of tourists. So, for example, it could be directed to improving roads or producing public toilets, infrastructure which not only visitors would benefit from, but local residents. Highland Council says a 5% levy could raise about £10 million a year. But tourism businesses are quite alarmed about how it might be introduced and the impact that it might have on them. We're joined today by Ellen Fogel-Walker, who recently took on the role of Destination Director at Visit Inverness and Loch Ness, and whose members are concerned about how the visitor levy could impact on them. So, Ellen, you recently took on the role of Destination Director at Visit Inverness and Loch Ness. But you're originally from South Carolina. What brought you to the Highlands?
I was brought to the Highlands on a fantastic opportunity I had back in 2016 after I had finished my first year at university in Florida. I was given the chance, as my university Flagler College had partnered with UHI at Inverness College, to do a 6-week internship, mainly based in Inverness, to study tourism development and heritage along with culture. And when I arrived, I felt something special. That trip left me with a tremendous respect for the authenticity that this area carries with it and the tremendous gravity of the landscape that we have here. So being part of that was something that just stuck with me. And even though I went back to the US for a year and I came back and lived in Spain and then I came and did my master's at Stirling, this place left a mark on me, and I've now found it as my chosen home, and this is where I've come to stay. So being a part of that was really life-changing.
What is it about the area that makes it really special?
The people, without a doubt. People make places. So the people that I met on that trip, the people that I've continued to meet in my 5 years that I've been living here as a permanent resident, is tremendous. I mean, the stories that they've shared with me, the welcoming arms that they've given me as a incomer has been nothing short of incredible. And it really is close to show what impression we give to visitors when they come and visit. They really are made to feel as if they have a place here as well, and I think that's quite unique in and of the world. I've worked in most areas of tourism. I mean, the easy jobs, the jobs no one wants, everything. So, I mean, when I started off working in hospitality, if we want to call that as a part of tourism, I was hosting and bussing tables and dishwashing in restaurants from a very young age, and I moved on into different roles looking after holiday houses during the summers, and then I moved into management of different restaurants. And while I did my studies in public history and museum management, I had the opportunity to move up in different experiences working within different political sectors and working in advocacy, and that's where I really hit my stride and my passion. While working on different reports for UNESCO sites in Spain, I then had the opportunity to come to the UK to do my graduate studies at Stirling to look at heritage environment policy and do projects with Historic Environment Scotland, looking at statements of significance and publishing that research. So all of those gave me a 360 view of what working in heritage and tourism is like. And coming up here in 2019, I started working at Culloden Battlefield in the cafe, making coffees for all the people who come on the lovely coaches and all the people who want to learn about the Jacobites and the government forces. And I was really taken by the generosity of the team there to help me hone my skills in heritage and tourism. And I worked up to be a facilities officer, to public affairs, to ultimately becoming the estates and conservation manager there. And growing within that organization really gave me the confidence to see myself as someone who is able to speak up for the places that we have to preserve its identity and its uniqueness. And that's really important for the work. So protecting people's sense of place is really at the heart of what I bring and what I am looking forward to bringing to the Visit Inverness Loch Ness.
I mean, you mentioned there about speaking up for people, and that could be quite important fairly soon as Highland Council looks at the possibility of introducing a visitor levy. It is proving controversial or it's causing concerns. The council has said that a 5% levy could bring in £10 million a year, which could help with the infrastructure in the region. What's been the reaction from tourism businesses in the area?
Our organisation is Visit Inverness Loch Ness. As you'll be aware, we represent nearly 500 businesses related to tourism in the Highland region. Broadly, mainly focused in our area, but we have opt-in members from as far as Ellen Castle or Dunrobin. So we really feel that we have a unique position to reflect on what our members are wanting. And at the end of the day, we respond to what our members feel is the best decision forward. And we present them with information. And we've given them the opportunity as part of the consultation process with the visitor levy to inform that decision that we've made as an organization and how we respond to those consultations. Our members of themselves overwhelmingly do not feel that they have had sufficient information to be able to fully support a visitor levy as it is currently being presented. So we are looking forward to hearing further results and decisions being made from the council in the coming weeks for us to be able to feed back to the members and hopefully allow them enough evidence to make an informed choice on what they feel is appropriate for the region.
So they're not necessarily just saying, no, we disagree with it. They are open to perhaps more discussion and more debate.
I don't think anyone would be against further support for development of visitor infrastructure, because infrastructure isn't just for visitors, it's for local people as well. Our members feel that a visitor levy could have positive benefits for the area, but we need to have more information and we need to see it presented in a slightly different way. The way that it is currently being presented and the way that it is to be collected does not have the support of our members. So we are hoping that the decisions and updates that we will receive will have been informed by the recommendations of the consultation that were fed back to the council.
Edinburgh has recently agreed to introduce a visitor levy. Places like Amsterdam, like Prague, they have a visitor levy. Do you think that there are lessons that could be learnt that might allay the fears of your members?
Oh, certainly. There are many examples across the world that have visitor levies or visitor taxes that work quite well, but they are quite limited in terms of how they're collected. Most of the ones in Europe are flat fee in taxes that have to be paid separately. It's not necessarily on the onus of the businesses to integrate that into their reporting and isn't part of their rateable value. So those are lessons to be learned and are certainly have been taken on board by the council already in terms of how they've presented it. In other instances, you mentioned Edinburgh there. This past week, there have been some of the preliminary kind of concerns raised about how that how the visitor levy there is being implemented, and the bumps in the road, shall we say, of how it is being implemented and the problems that that is causing to businesses. And part of our responsibility as Visit Inverness Loch Ness is to help businesses prepare for any changes and help them reduce any barriers they have to doing business and representing those concerns they have.
Although the pressing subject at the moment for members might be the possibility of a visitor levy, are there any other concerns or even positive measures that your members are focusing on at the moment?
Oh, certainly. I mean, our destination is growing. I think that there's been so much positivity over the past 12 months, in particular, in terms of the growth of businesses, opening of new businesses in the area, new offerings. So we're working very closely with our members to understand what those new offerings are so that we can promote them. Our organization works in mainly two different ways. On the one hand, we operate as, in many ways, as a destination marketing organization. So we go out and we promote the destination. So we promote our businesses and the larger destination as a whole to other markets and to bring new business in. But at the same time, the other half of what we do is to support the businesses because at the end of the day, we're a business improvement district or a bid. Within that, we're a tourism bid, so we're sector specific. What that means is that the businesses that we represent have to fit within special criteria, which are named within a business plan. And every 5 years, we're voted in by our members. So, in a way, we are a statutory organization that exists because businesses in the area agree that we should exist. And in doing so, they enable us and empower us to stay up to date with market trends, research, statistics, and support them to find new ways of doing business. And some of that also pertains to improving infrastructure in the area for tourism resources. Some of that is digital, so it's the upkeeping of our website and other resource libraries that they can access. But it's also about organizing workshops and local events to encourage visitation at different times of the year.
What would you say is the state of tourism in Inverness and the Loch Ness area at the moment? Is it healthy?
It's ever growing, Val. It's really encouraging to see this year that we have a lot of visitors. The numbers aren't out yet. Of course, we usually get official visitor numbers with a year's in retro. So we won't know official numbers until probably a year on from now. But the feelings have been certainly that while the tourists haven't come in as concentrated of numbers, that we still are seeing very strong performance on the whole. However, I'll temper that by saying that rising costs have to doing business have meant that some of the business haven't been able to enjoy that increased success in the same way that they may have done in past years. So it's affecting trends in many different ways. Visitor stay certainly is an aspect of that. But what we're noticing this year is that people had, for the most part, already planned the trips, especially our long haul visitors, so visitors from North America. So they're going ahead with their trips. There was a really great article published not too long ago that had there's a really famous travel writer and presenter called Rick Steves from the US. And he said, now more than ever, travel is such an important part. And I'm going to paraphrase him because I won't say it correctly, but he was talking about how important travel is when there's uncertainty in the world. And I feel that that is incredibly important because it helps us stay connected to other people and helps us really situate ourselves within the context of the world. It is so easy in our day to day to get really caught up in the little things that can frustrate us in our everyday lives. But taking that time out to go visit other places, even if it's 30 minutes down the road, can help you appreciate the things you have both at home and in the wider world. And I think that that's something that visitation is certainly feeling. This year, we've seen a really big shift to experiential tourism. So that means people really want experiences. They don't necessarily just want to buy things. They want to buy time with someone. They want a story. We are a community of storytellers in Inverness and Loch Ness. We have a product that people love and they really appreciate. We have an offering that is really appealing to this year's visitor. And we're delighted to see the response of people coming in who have really enjoyed their time here so far.
And of course, Inverness Castle is going to be opening soon. What are your expectations of that?
Well, how often does a destination get to open a castle? Who else can say that in Europe right now, right? Who's opening a castle this year? We are, right? That is really exciting. Inverness Castle is going to be transformational for the city, and we have every confidence that it is really going to help us set us forward as a destination, but in a responsible way. At the basis of what we do, we're all about promoting responsible growth and visitation of our destination. So we already had fantastic restaurants, offerings. We have amazing places to stay. We have a monster Who many places can say that? But we now are going to have a castle as well. And so we're going to really round out that cultural Highland experience that people want when they come up here. And I think what's really unique about the way that Inverness Castle experience is going to be presented to visitors is that it's not necessarily another castle that tells the story of a family or of things in the castle. It's about telling the story of the people, again, who represent that place and about the Highland way of life. It embodies the spirit of what we are as well.
You mentioned that we have a monster. I have to ask you, Ellen, are you a believer or non-believer?
I think that it's so much more beautiful to live in a world where Nessie could exist than saying that she doesn't. So to me, being constantly amazed and looking around me at what could be in this world is really encouraging to me as a person, and I like to live my life that way and being open to other ideas.
You've been listening to Beyond the Briefing, the stories behind the headlines, diving deeper into the biggest local stories in the Highlands. This podcast is brought to you by Highland News and Media. It's hosted by Shannon Marvell and produced by Christopher Dixon. If you enjoyed this show, make sure to subscribe and share with others who care about local journalism.